Well, we're back from Mexico on our vacation. I wanted to show you guys how we did it on a budget. Spent a little more than we wanted to. Hola todos, bienvenidos, uno otro slightly redneck video. I think that's right anyway. I've been trying to speak Spanish all week long. It helps to know a little bit of Spanish when you travel to Mexico. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about our vacation. Thank you guys for holding on. No videos last week, and I appreciate it. All the people, I saw the comments coming in. I just haven't had a chance to respond. Everybody wishing us a good time on our vacation. It was a great time. So let me just kind of explain how we did this on a budget, because we don't have that much money, especially with all the all the surgeries my wife's had, all the health problems that have been going on in the last year and a half. We've got a lot of health debt. So how did we manage to take a vacation to Cancun, Mexico for a week? Well, a couple of things worked out. First of all, I had a bunch of airline miles saved up, and that was for my travel to the Dominican Republic for work. I was doing a lot of traveling. I don't do that anymore for work now, but I had been for about a year and a half, and I saved up a bunch of miles, had about 60,000 miles. So that covered our airline tickets. We had to pay taxes on the airline, about $150 in airline tickets, or in taxes, excuse me, for the airline. And the air conditioner's kicking on behind me. Hopefully it's not too noisy. So $150 roughly for our airline tickets. That came out of income tax return. And then we got an Airbnb on the beach, basically in the Cancun zone. It wasn't directly on the beach. There was about four blocks. We had to walk about 4 blocks to get to the beach. But it was nice. It was a good location. And for the week, that cost us $250. So far we're in at about, what is that, $400, I think, roughly $400 for airline and lodging. Now that doesn't include any food or anything else we want to do down there, but still $400, we paid that out early out of income tax return, and then we saved up some money and took with us. All in all, I think we spent about $600 while we were there, and we had a great time. So we're in it for roughly $1,000 total, and that's everything that we did. A couple of things we could have done that we could have made the trip a little bit cheaper is we did have an Airbnb with a kitchen in it, a stove, a microwave, a refrigerator. We did use the microwave a couple of times. We brought home leftovers from the restaurant, and then we just heated them up in the microwave for lunch the next day. That saved us a little bit of money, but we could have gone to the grocery store, bought groceries, come back and cooked in the Airbnb, but we didn't do that. We actually ate out the entire time we were there, and that was one of our biggest expenses because we were in the hotel zone in Cancun, and those restaurants there are pretty expensive. So you're looking at roughly, I think we spent probably close to about $45 per meal. We didn't always eat dinner. Sometimes we would just eat or sometimes we wouldn't eat lunch. We might just get a bag of chips from the store or something like that, snack a little bit, and then eat a big dinner. So we didn't quite eat 3 meals a day out, but we did eat out most of the time we were there. Now, so let me run through the trip, how it went. I got some pictures here I'll show you, and hopefully they come out okay, you guys can see. So we ended up getting into Cancun, it was about 10:30 on Monday evening, and we took an airport shuttle. It cost us about, I think it was $40 that we paid for the airport shuttle, and that was to get us to the Airbnb, and then also to pick us up and take us back to the airport whenever we left. So we got to the Airbnb, a pretty nice place. It was a condo, and we rented out one of the buildings, multiple buildings in this condo complex. Gated community, so you had to have the doorman had to let you in and out. So it was very secure. They had a nice pool area with a little waterfall that flowed over it. We had our own building in there, again, a bedroom. With we actually had 2 bathrooms in the building, shower, kitchen, refrigerator, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty well stocked and nice and clean. So that worked out really, really well. We didn't spend a lot of time in the Airbnb. We just kind of went there in the evenings, slept, and then got up in the morning and went and explored. So Tuesday, first day that we really were there, we went and took a ferry. We spent about $35, I think, on the ferry to get to the Isla Mujeres. If you're not familiar with Isla Mujeres, it is an island off the coast of Cancun, a very small island, kind of a fishing village, but just a beautiful island. So we got there, we rented a golf cart for another $35, so we're in at about $65 for the trip to Isla Mujeres. and then the golf cart rental for the day. And the golf cart's the way you get around there. I mean, there's some cars, but most people are driving golf carts around. It's a small island. So we just toured the island on our own. We drove all around the island, checked it out. It's not very big. We went to a turtle hatchery. That's a turtle farm, basically. Cost us, how much was that? It was about $6 US to get in. $6 to get in, and then another $3 for some turtle food. So we spent $10 basically at the turtle farm to get in. And they just had some nice tanks set up with some turtles. Basically what they do is they collect turtle eggs, they hatch them out there, and then they raise them up and release them into the wild. So they had indoor tanks where they were raising them up, and then they had outdoor sections that were fenced off from the ocean, that were in the ocean, but fenced off, where the bigger turtles would kind of hang out. So it was kind of cool to walk around and see all that, how it was all set up. It was self-guided. There wasn't a tour guide with us. It was just kind of you walk around, and there were some signs that kind of explained what things were going on. Now, I would say, if you're going to go to a place like this and you don't speak Spanish, I speak a little bit. I've been trying to learn Spanish for a long time, but it's still pretty limited. But Google Translate, you can download Google Translate on your phone, and you can point that at a sign. It will translate right on the screen what it's saying, or you can type into it and it'll tell you what to say. I mean, it translates for you, and it does a great job. So it's a good little app to have. There were a couple of times where I can usually make out writing pretty well, but there were a couple of times where I was like, I just don't know what that means, and I had to look at the Google Translate to tell me. But anyway, the turtle farm was a very neat little area. After the turtle farm, we went to just kind of, like I said, kind of piddled around the island just a little bit, checked out some of the artwork, some of the, one of the coasts where you could see the ocean on the ocean side of it, not on the Cancun side. On the Cancun side, it's much calmer water, but on the ocean side, there's a lot of waves coming in. Check that out, just scenic, view kind of thing. And then we spent some time on North Beach in Isla Mujeres, by far the best beach that we visited the whole time we were there. Just nice, clean, calm water, just a beautiful beach. So we spent some time there, went down to a local restaurant, had lunch, and a couple of beers. I think that was probably about $20, $25 worth of food. We just got, I think we just got guacamole chips, just a couple of side kind of appetizer type items to serve us for lunch, and a couple of beers. And that was a real nice trip that we had there. The next day, on Wednesday, we went to Playa Delfines, which is kind of one of the more popular public beaches there. It's where the Cancun sign is. Got our picture taken with the Cancun sign. Water's pretty rough there, so we didn't get in the ocean. But just a short walk down the road is El Rey, which is a archaeological Mayan site where you can see Mayan ruins in the city. It's not the size of like Tulum or Chichen Itza or some of the more popular ones, but it was nice. It cost us about $6 US dollars. We paid in pesos, but it cost about $6 for us to get in and tour the area. And again, it's just a self-guided tour with some signs up. You can just walk through and check out all the buildings. Probably a half hour, 45 minutes worth of walking around and checking things out. One thing you will notice when you go to Mexico, or at least Cancun anyway, is that like we have squirrels here, they have iguanas there. They're everywhere. Iguanas all over the place. And as we were waiting on the bus, we left El Rey, went across the street to catch the bus. We went into downtown Cancun to visit Mercado 28, or Market 28, which is the kind of the famous flea market, Mexican flea market there. So we went across the street to wait on the bus, and there was a fenced-in area that had a ton of iguanas in there. And so there was some guy in there feeding the iguanas, and he didn't speak English, but through our broken Spanish, I managed to kind of communicate with him just a little bit. How are you doing? Nice iguanas, nice area. He let my wife in he just offered to let her feed the iguanas a little bit. So we got some video of her. I'll try to share it on here. Hopefully it's coming through. Feeding the iguanas there. That was kind of fun. It was kind of a neat little experience. And then we took the bus. One of the best things about Mexico is the bus system. It's just fantastic. If you're going to go along Cancun anywhere, and Cancun, the way it's set up, I mean, you can look at it on a map, but it is a long island stretch, not an island, but kind of a peninsula, I guess it would be, with a bay on one side, the ocean on the other, but a very long stretch, probably 13 miles or so, from all the way up what they call the hotel zone, which is right along that strip. and then you get into the city of Cancun. And there's buses that run 24 hours a day all along that route, all the way up and down it. And they're super cheap. It costs 12 pesos to ride that bus anywhere along that route and get off anywhere along that route. And they'll take you all the way up to Walmart inside Cancun. So you could easily go there and go shopping and get your groceries and those kinds of things if you need them. So we rode the bus a lot. Everywhere we went, we rode the bus. 12 pesos, it's less than $1. So now if you're paying in American dollars, they will take them, but they charge a full dollar. So it's $1 basically to ride the bus anywhere along that route. And that's what we did. We rode the bus everywhere we went. If we needed to get somewhere that was further than a mile, if it was less than a mile, we just walked it. But if it was more than a mile, well, then we would just ride the bus, 12 pesos each, and just ride the bus to wherever and get off. So anyway, Wednesday we rode the bus into downtown Cancun, walked the, it was probably 12, 14, 15 blocks, something like that. It was a little bit of a walk, but not bad, to the market, to Mercado 28, which has got, it's a huge flea market. It's got, I don't know, probably 300 stores in there, shops, a lot of handmade artisan type stuff, a lot of the standard souvenir stuff like t-shirts. I think we bought the t-shirts there. And it's all, you barter for everything. You don't ever pay the price that they ask you for. You always barter in Mexico and always talk them down. I think he started off on these t-shirts at $30 a piece, and I told him, no way, I can't pay $30. Even in the States, I don't pay $30 for a t-shirt. We got him down to $10 each. We bought 2 t-shirts, $10 each. I gave him a $1 tip to point us to a good taco place, and we ended up having lunch there in the flea market at one of the restaurants. Pretty good, little street tacos, some guacamole, a couple of beers. It was probably $25, so it was a little higher than what I expected it to be for being in downtown Cancun, but it wasn't bad, and it was pretty good food. We got plenty, ate plenty of it. And then we just went back to the Airbnb for the day, because by this time it was hot. We were sweaty. It's hot all day, and it's humid as can be. So we went and just kind of played in the ocean for a little while, and then went back and went to bed basically. While we were at the market though, we did run into somebody that tried to sell us a tour. We wanted to do some snorkeling while we were there, so we did book a tour. We got them down to $100 total for my wife and I to take the trip to, it was on a catamaran. So a pretty large boat, catamaran. There were probably 25, 30 people that were on the boat with us. We took that Thursday actually, but we booked it on Wednesday. So we had to pay, we paid $100 for the tour, and then we had to pay another, I think it was $30, $40 total for the reef tax to be able to get in and snorkel on the reef. That wasn't part of the tour. That was just a tax that you have to pay, to a fee basically to snorkel at the reef. So we had to pay that. So it was about $140, pretty expensive, but we got, we rode on a catamaran over basically about halfway to the Isla Mujeres the next day, and got in the water and snorkeled there for about an hour over the reef. Very nice. I took some GoPro footage, but it's real shaky. It doesn't look real good, so I'll share little bits of it, but it'll make you sick if you watch too much of it, because I was hand holding the thing and trying to float around and steer and guide myself, and the waves were a little choppy, so we're moving, and it was real choppy footage, but saw some pretty fish and some cool things there. And then the catamaran itself was it was a full bar, unlimited bar, so you could have drinks as many as you wanted to. We didn't drink that much. We're not big drinkers. Being Christians, I don't believe that drinking is a sin, but I believe that drunkenness is a sin. So we avoid trying to be drunk. But we did have a couple of drinks on the way over. Nice, they served, let's see, that you could get a margarita, you could get a pina colada, you could get beer, cerveza, and we had a couple of drinks on the way over after snorkeling. They didn't serve anything before snorkeling, they only did it after. And then they took us on over to the Isla Mujeres one more time. We ate at a restaurant there. It was a buffet style restaurant. It was included in as part of our tour. So we ate quite a bit, ate as much as we could, make sure we get our fills worth. Very nice little restaurant. Then they took us over to the north side and let us have some free time for about 2 hours. So we spent another couple hours in North Beach, Playa Norte, which is a again, beautiful beach. And we just spent a couple hours there playing around in the water and the sand, and then jumped back on the catamaran, had the ride back across, got back about 5:30 that day. So it was a tired day of, on the catamaran. It's not a real fast moving boat, but met some cool people. There were about 25, 30 people there. A couple of them spoke English, most of them spoke Spanish. I got to talk to them a little bit, did my best to speak in Spanish with some of them. We had short conversations. Everybody's super nice from all over the world. Met people from Great Britain, from Australia, from, let's see, where else were they from? Peru, Colombia, just all over the place, and just had some great times there, just chatting with me. I'm a people person, so I enjoy being around people and people of different cultures, people that have that we can talk about different things. So we had a great time on that cruise. Again, that was one of the more expensive things we did, about $150 total for that. And then Friday was our last day in Cancun. We did go Thursday night up to the actual hotel zone, like the heart of the hotel zone, and walked around up there. It was like a carnival. I'm kind of glad we weren't actually staying in that part of Cancun, because it's too much. It doesn't take very long before you get pretty sick of that. You're walking through and it's just constant people, just constantly after you. Hey, do you want a massage? Do you want a cigar? Do you want tequila? Do you want, just trying to sell you something. So you learned how to say no gracias, and just keep walking, because they will hound you nonstop. So anyway, spent a little bit of time there that evening, walked around. It was a neat thing to see, but not anywhere where I want to spend a great deal of time. And then Friday, we took the bus into downtown Cancun, into Walmart, and we walked probably about a mile and a half, I think it was, to the park. So Parque Urbano Cabo, I believe is how it's pronounced. Cabo, maybe. Parque Urbano Cabo. I may be getting wrong. Maybe it's Parque Urbana Cabo. Either way. Anyway, it's a park in the middle of Cancun that is a big park. I couldn't tell you exactly how big it is, but it's large, real large. And it's undeveloped. They got walking trails through there. They got, a museum in there and some bathrooms. And you have to walk quite a ways to get to them. But it's like being in the jungle. It is jungle on all sides of you. There's a lot of wildlife in there. We didn't really get to see much of anything as far as wildlife goes. But there is a lot of wildlife in there. Again, it's like being in the jungle. So it was kind of neat. We walked through the park a little bit, and then walked back down and found another little taco place on the street. Sat down and had a couple of tacos there. That was the absolute best restaurant we ate at. It was right near Mercado 28. And it's just a little outdoor taco restaurant. They're permanently there. It's not like a tent set up, but they're permanently there, but it is an outdoor seating, open air seating. We had, 4 tacos, a couple of fish tacos. Fish was just perfect. A couple of, I had a chorizo verde taco, and I love chorizo, so that was really good. They bring out a couple of sauces, crema, which is like sour cream, but Mexican sour cream. And what else? We had a couple of beers there, and a cheesecake for dessert, and some guacamole, because we just love guacamole. Very good. All of it was just fantastic, and it was a pretty big meal, and it was $12 US. It was a fantastic price. So we ended up paying $20, I think, and just giving the rest to them as a tip, because it was great service. They didn't speak any English. There was a woman sitting beside us that didn't speak any English. They had some kind of a weird drink, and I asked her what it was, and she told me. I can't remember the name of it now, but it is similar to, it had chili powder, it had like a Worcestershire maybe in it or something, kind of like a Bloody Mary, but not nearly as much tomato, and probably had a vodka or something. I don't know what the base alcohol was, but she just insisted on we trying it, so we got to try that drink. Wouldn't be something I'd want to drink all the time, but it wasn't bad. Super friendly lady though. We chatted back and forth the best we could with my broken Spanish, and she was just very nice. She was just very friendly. Even had her take a picture of us right in front of the restaurant, so we could remember that time. It was a great time. And again, super cheap restaurant, just fantastic. And then we stopped by Playa Tortugas, which is Turtle Beach there, and spent the rest of the afternoon just kind of playing in the water, sitting up under the umbrellas there, just relaxing. That's a pretty nice beach. There was a lot of seaweed right there, but it's nice and calm because it's directly across from Isla Mujeres. Isla Mujeres is a ways away, but it still provides protection from the waves. So it's nice, calm water right in that area. And we spent the afternoon just kind of hanging out at the beach, There was a family next to us that didn't speak English. They spoke Spanish, but we had a little bit of conversation back and forth with them a little bit. They were super nice, friendly people. Tolerated my broken Spanish, and got to learn what you call, I can't remember any of it now, but there were seagulls and some other kind of bird flying around. We talked about what those were, and just all in all, had a great time. So, a couple of tips I would have for you is, if you plan on going to Mexico, and if you don't travel very much, so you don't have the airline miles built up, look into getting one of the credit cards that, make sure it has no annual fee. If you can find one that gives you airline miles for your purchases. And then if you just budget well, don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff and carry a balance on the card. But if you budget well, you can do all your groceries, your gas, your normal expenses that you spend every month anyway on the credit card, pay it off every 30 days so you don't incur any interest, and you build up airline miles, and that will cover your ticket price bet anywhere you go. The Airbnb that we stayed at, I'll leave a link below for it. It was great. The location was pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot. I mean, there was a gas station, a mini mart, not a gas station, a convenience store down the road, a block away, so we could go down there and get coffee or soda or whatever, because I'm a soda pop junkie. And that stuff was pretty reasonably priced. I think I paid roughly $1 for like a 20 ounce bottle of Coke, which is pretty good. It's a little bit cheaper than what you'd buy it in the States for. And let's see what else. There was a grocery store a little ways away, but they didn't have a whole lot of groceries. But again, you could always take the bus to Walmart for $1, buy your groceries, and then take it back for another $1. And we ended up we walked maybe 3 blocks to get to the bus stop. Anywhere along the main strip though, even if you're not at a bus stop and you see your bus coming, you just wave your hand and they will pull over and let you on, and you just tell them where you want to go, because there are different buses that run different routes. It's a little bit hard to figure out which bus do I need to get where. But if you just wave your hand, as long as you're on the side of the road going the right direction, wave your hand, they'll stop. You say, I want to go, or just say where you want to go. Walmart, Playa Tortugas, Playa Linda, wherever, Playa Delfines. Tell them where you want to go, and they'll nod their heads yes or no. Some of them spoke some English, so they communicated a little bit there. They'll say yes, or they'll say no, I just side of the road. Tell you where to go to get on the right bus, or there's an R1 bus, an R2 bus, there's a couple of different ones. So it's pretty simple to do though. Pretty easy. Just ask them when you get on. And then what I suggest too is download Google Maps and type in the area so you can watch on the map as you get close. Because as depending on how crowded the bus is, we were in the off season, September's the off season, so there weren't a ton of people there, but there were a couple of times where the bus was pretty full. And I had to kind of watch Google Maps. Okay, we're getting real close. I type in the area we wanted to go, and he'd give me directions. While we're on the bus, I don't necessarily need the directions, but I could watch it. And as we got close, I'd remind the bus driver, Playa Tortugas, or Ritz-Carlton. Ritz-Carlton is where we got off. We didn't stay at the Ritz-Carlton, but our Airbnb was right in front of it. So I just remind them, and they, oh yeah, see, and they just pull over and let me off right there. So again, super friendly people. Everybody we talked to was nice. We had no problem. We walked around all over the place. We went to a restaurant right behind the Airbnb that we stayed in, just walked around the corner to it, and had dinner there one night. High-end, fancy restaurant, a little bit on the expensive side, $50, $60 I think. We had a steak, and my wife had it was a crab ravioli, I think, crab tortellini, something like that. There's plenty of food for dinner, very good, but again, a little bit higher end, very, very high on the service end, and very fancy. So we ate there one night, and then right outside, they're set right on the bay, they have their own marina right there. And right outside the marina, I was taking some pictures the next morning. I looked down, and there's a crocodile. I mean, a wild crocodile right there. I mean, we're on it's raised up, so you're looking down at the water. And he was just right there on the beach. I mean, just right there. Probably 10, 12 foot long crocodile, big one. And I asked a guy there, we talked to him a little bit. He didn't speak English either, but through my Spanish, and asking him here's a phrase you need to learn in Spanish. If you speak any Spanish at all, the problem I always have is I speak too fast. So you just say, dígame otra vez más despacio, por favor. So tell me again, slower, please. And I had to use that a couple of times with him because I couldn't understand what he was saying very well. He had a different kind of accent, but he did tell me it was a wild crocodile. It hangs out there quite frequently, likes to go under the docks, eats the fish that swim around in the area. So it's a pretty common thing there, a pretty common crocodile to have around. That one in particular, I don't know, he may have had a name, but he was not captive. He was a wild crocodile. So it was kind of interesting to see that. And then, I mean, that was it. We had a great time. Spent the whole week just kind of wandering around. I mean, just all over the place. Got to see all kinds of things, and spend some time in Mexico. I think the best part was probably walking around inside Cancun, because once you get away from you know, where the bus drops you off there at Walmart, there's a Plaza 28 right there, and then you go down a little bit further and there's Mercado 28 or Mercado 28. And both of those are like shopping centers, whatever, very touristy still. Lots of Americans walking around, lots of people still speaking English. But once you get away from that a little ways, it is Mexico, and not hardly anybody spoke English. We had to ask directions in Spanish, and just to confirm we were going the right way, but still just stopping people on the road and asking them, okay, where's Walmart? How do I get to, you know, the park or whatever? They were all very, very friendly, very nice, and never once felt like we were in any kind of danger or anything like that. It was just a great experience all the way around. I highly recommend the taquerias, the side of the road taquerias. That would just cheap food, fantastic food, great service, friendly people, just the feel of Mexico. It doesn't feel like you're in a, you know, a lot of the places, some of the places we went, not a lot of them, but some of them we went to eat. It was good food, but it was a little bit expensive, and it really felt like a Mexican restaurant in the States, if that makes sense. You go to a Mexican restaurant, at least here, and we do have people from Mexico working in these Mexican restaurants, but it's still an Americanized restaurant. A lot of those were like that. This wasn't. This was Mexico, and it was great. We had a fantastic time. Just sat there, chatted with the people around us a little bit. Even my wife that didn't speak Spanish, we still, you know, and again, I speak very limited, we still could carry on some kind of decent conversations with them. So it was great. All in all, loved it. I'd love to go back to Mexico another time and visit again. Don't know if I'll go to Cancun. I mean, I wouldn't mind going back to Cancun, but I've seen it already, so I might go to another place. But who knows? It'll be a while before we can afford to take another vacation like that. But we did pretty good. All in all, round trip, like I said, right at probably $1,000, a little bit under. We may have gotten away with $800-ish dollars, including airfare, travel, all that. And that's eating in the airport there and eating in the airport on the way back. All right, so in the end of last week, we started our whole vacation off with a family reunion. My dad's side of the family. We got our whole family together. You know, my aunts. Well, my dad passed away when I was young, when I was about 19 years old. So of course he wasn't there. But all of his sisters, for the most part, we have one that had passed away a couple of years ago. All their kids, so my first cousins there, and all their children. First time I think we've gotten everybody together like that in probably 30 years, 35 years. It's been a long time. We had one cousin that just couldn't make it for whatever reason. But the whole rest of the family showed up. We spent that in Branson, Missouri. That's home to me. I mean, it's only an hour and a half down the road, so I've spent plenty of time in Branson. Beautiful place, love the Ozarks. But we went to a resort there called Branson Shores. Great resort. Pool, volleyball court. The cabins that you rent are like 6 or 7 rooms in one cabin. So we split that up we had 3 cabins total, different parts of the family staying in different cabins, and pretty much filled them up and split that cost up amongst ourselves. So it wasn't too bad. I think we had to pay we paid about $300 for the room for the weekend. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And included in that, I mean, it's right on Table Rock Lake, so there's access to the lake. There's pontoon boat rental was included with that, so we got to take the pontoon boats out on the lake. Just had a really good time spending that with some family in the area, bringing them into the area, actually. Some of them live in California now, and Texas, and Alabama, and a couple of different, North Carolina, I guess it is, not Alabama. I think North Carolina. I get mixed up. But anyway, got all that family together, got to take some pictures, got to just have a good weekend enjoying family. And then we went on our trip to Mexico. Anyway, wanted to share all that with you guys, where I was, why I had no videos out last week. Thank you for holding on with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing my story about Mexico and, how I went in Branson, I guess. And God bless each and every one of you. We will see you in the next video. Take care.